Hi and good welcome to Global Edition 6, the 6th version of Global Edition we've had at eRacing GP. My name's Alex Young, and next to me is Alistair as well. So Alistair, great to have you. This is the 6th running we've had of the Global Edition. 4 categories: copper, bronze, silver and gold, which comes up last. What are your thoughts coming to the 6th edition of this?
Well, it's good to be back. Global Edition is back and in full force. New cars, new tracks, so it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
For 4 categories, copper, bronze, silver and gold, we expect to be action-packed and full of great racing.
Yeah.
First up, we got copper. These are new guys. We expect them to be having fun. We expect action. We expect to see some risky moves. So that'll be very entertaining, and that's coming up first. After that, we got bronze. Guys who have been in the series for a while now. We have 4 people from copper that moved up, so it will be exciting to see how they fare this season. And in silver, this is where you get the first semi-pros, faster guys, the more experienced guys, and we'll see how they do. A couple silvers went up to gold this year as well, and gold is the elite of the elite, fastest on track, and the best in the region. So I'm very excited to see how they do.
Absolutely. Good summary there. Let's just have a quick look at the 4 winners from last year. So these are the winners of Global Edition 5, and you can see the names there. Naqib Aslan won the Gold class. First time he's won the Gold class after finishing runner-up 3 times. Noor Shazizan from Singapore won silver, and he's now in gold this year. And in the bronze class, it wasn't Bernard Chan that win. This is a slight typo. We got the wrong graphic here. It was actually Francis Gonzalez who won bronze class there. Both these road drivers are now in silver. And of course, in copper class, we have Kelvin Powell who is now in bronze. And of course, Global Edition 6, you will see what we're doing. We're actually giving a bit of a tip of the hat to the retro days, the old historic days. We've gone for old cars, old tracks as well. And this weekend we start with Salzburg Ring. We're on board now with the cars on the track. You see some of the cars. Mohammad Hamdany from Malaysia. First time I've seen him, never seen him before. He's quickest at the moment, so he's looking quite good. Let's see who else is on track. You can see the track. Here it is. It comes to the cross start finish track. I think we'll have Amo Haziq and Kian Butler joining us for commentary later, and he was saying that this track's actually owned by the Red Bull Ring Football Club. Alistair, have you driven here?
No, I haven't. I have seen it before. There was a time trial, I think earlier this year in DTM that I wanted to have a go on, but I just wasn't quick enough. Yep. As we see McGregor having a slight issue there. But yeah, it looks like an exciting track. You don't see them like the current FIA certified tracks nowadays. There's no runoff, no room for error. You see that the walls are close, and of course Austria, we have another Red Bull owned track. Yeah,
so it's kind of interesting. Like we said, it's a tip of the hat to the historic day cars. This is the Formula RaceRoom Junior car. Great little car to learn how to drive. Lots of car control needed because you're sideways to the corners a bit. It's based on the old Formula Ford. Well, the latest version of the Formula Ford. You can see it looks quite newish, but there's no wings on it. Slicks. I think they're slicks. But great, great for car control to learn how to drive. And then in bronze we got the old Group 4 car. So you see a BMW M1 and I think a Porsche 962. Then you got the Group 5 cars. Whole bunch of cool cars there. The Zack Speed. Few other bits and pieces. And then we got the old Group C cars from the 80s for gold. So it'll be a bit of fun for sure.
Have you ever driven the old Formula Fords before?
I have only ever done a test in a Formula Ford car. I've never raced them. 4-speed boxes. We can ride on board right now actually. I was going to say you can take us for a lap. See what we can see. Actually, this is coming into the last couple corners. Brendon Wattanabe here driving. It's from Philippines. Actually, see how long the corners are, Al, as we come to the last... Well, not the last corner. There's one more chicane after this corner before they hit the start-finish straight.
Yeah, well, the thing about this track is that it's very old school. So you see here, you got the elevation changes, you got the camber changes, you got slow and fast corners. But the thing about this track, much like the Red Bull Ring, the other Austrian track, is that there's not many braking zones. So in these small cars, it's all about carrying that entry speed and kind of holding it. You don't really touch the brakes much. I know you hit the brakes here at around 120, 150 coming into this first chicane. You use all that curb, so that's pretty you know, fun for these copper drivers. But yeah, these cars seem pretty challenging to drive, sequentials, and yeah, I'm just amazed at the track. I've been looking at the laps, and just the camber and the elevation is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think it's H pattern 4-speed box. I don't think it sounds like, you know, like long time between change gears. Just a flat out bit. A lot of old school curbs as well, Alistair? So that should unsettle the cars quite a bit.
Yeah, nice and high.
Okay, we'll bring into the commentary team. See if Ammo and Kian are on site. Ammo, can you hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Ah, perfect. So practice is about to finish. We're going to go into qualifying in a short while. And we'll hand over to the commentary team now. There's Ammo Hazik from Malaysia and Kian Butler based in Perth, Australia.
It was great to be back here for the qualifying session. This is the Copper class, the very first Copper class qualifying of the season. We'll have plenty more of that as we come up through the day, as we look at Brendon Wattanabe then coming through to the final sector here. The chicanes, as they call it, the chicanes, or in German, the final 2 and 3 corners that they come across the line here. Kian, what are you looking forward to? Because I think you're quite familiar with these kind of cars as well, because Australia have their own version of Formula Ford.
Yeah, we have a bunch of Formula Ford going down. I've been privileged enough to actually drive one of these, and they're quite fun to drive, if I'm honest. These obviously running slicks, and they are still running the H-pattern shifter. In real life, in the ones that we run, we have to run, I think, 3 sets of tires for the entire season, so they're basically all-weather tires that you're trying to, you know, not wear down for the whole season. But of course, we're here today at the Salzburg Ring. This track built in 1969, the same year as the moon landing. Ammo, who do you think is going to rocket away with qualifying today?
Tough call here, because these are brand new guys that, well, not to say brand new guys, but brand new guys that are going to be protagonists for the championship, we can safely say, because the storylines have not formed yet. This is the very first round of the season, so as the rounds progress, we might see more and more drivers just come to the fore, and we can see the championship contenders right up there challenging for the Copper Class Championship. But for now, not sure who to pick out, actually. Quite close.
Yeah, you can see so far we have Brendon Wattanabe, who we are on board with now, having a purple Sector 1. We're on board as he comes towards the mid to end of Sector 2. Do you think... What kind of lap times do you think we're looking for? I'm sure we'll find that in about 10-15 seconds, but if you had to hedge your bets, what do you think pole time will be here today?
To the 130s just now, missed the practice time just now. I was looking at a lot of numbers, so missed it, but should be just a whisker over 1 minute 30 plus, so 1.5 minutes around circuit compared to, say, the Group C cars where they can do 112. So there we go, 132.3, and I think that is that is Brendon Wattanabe, actually. The side of the steering wheel says Chris Chu or something like that. Oh, it's Chris Chu, actually. So, a bit of confusion there, because he went purple around the same time. But, oh, look at that. Sparks as he came across the M Kushikane there, and rightfully goes back to the start of the lap. But that first corner, there's going to be a point contention, don't you think, Kian? Because it's such a tight first corner. We see that in touring cars there have been a lot of incidents there. So, a possibility that more of the same might happen here in the Formula Juniors for the Copper class.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, the grid looking a bit congested towards that middle section, you know, third downwards. But Brendon Wattanabe already 7 tenths ahead of his closest competitor. Let's see if anyone can put a lap in to try and challenge for that pole.
And, of course, Wattanabe was one of the main protagonists from last season in Copper class. Just couldn't get it right in some of the races towards the end of the season, hence why he finished 6th behind McGregor and Andre Janssen Villanueva. While the 3 guys who finished in the top 3 of the championship have all moved up to bronze, we will see later. Pao, Sage Nico, and Kenneth Wong. So these guys have a chance here to make up for that season that they proverbially lost due to not winning it by trying to win it here. As we look at Keith Moe here, one of the academy drivers for Axel, and driving well right at the moment. It's just not putting a foot wrong in it, but you can see that on the screen. He's driving with ultra wide screen, so he can actually have good peripheral vision. There he is right now on the back straight, coming up to the Fara-Lager curve. A very scary curve. No, actually, that's the Noxteen curve after the first 2 chicanes. The layout looks almost the same, actually. It's almost like a reverse of itself, but the deceptively simple layout of the circuit can be quite tricky. Mick Doohan said that, you know, Mick Doohan, the great Australian 500cc rider, said it's a scary place to be, but it's exhilarating.
Yeah, it really looks it. These drivers having to make sure that they maximize that corner entry and mid-corner speed, as Alistair Young was saying earlier. And so far, again, Wattanabe has improved. The gap to Julie behind was 2 tenths. It's increased now to 7 tenths. So really making a statement in this first round of qualifying. Can anyone get close? A 131.9, the current benchmark to try and beat.
looking not likely. But we saw just now there was another guy that actually set the timing screen alight. No, it's not Danish Aram. It was Mohammad Hamdany. And we have not seen so far of him actually coming up to the fore and trying to set those lap times just about yet. But we'll have to wait and see because qualifying still not over yet. About a minute and a half to go. Anybody can still set a time here that can potentially upset the Habitat. Here's Hamdany, and he has enough time to actually set. He's on the back straight here, coming up to the fearsome foreign lager curve, aka the paddock curve.
But already 3/10 down in the first sector to Wattanabe, so it just shows how much he's been able to maximize that first part of the lap. Let's see through this right-hander then, as we get towards the end of sector 2, will he be able to put in any sort of time that can challenge? Let's see, we're looking for purples, we're looking for a green maybe. As you can see, a lot of understeer there. He's throwing a lot of slip angle into that front tire, which could help to build tire heat. It's a green sector, 1/10 slower still than the purple sector on the track right now. It's come through the left-hander, 45 seconds remaining on the clock, down the start-finish straight. Let us see where this lap will put him. Currently 26th is Hamdany. Where will he go? Second place now. Only 0.08 of a second behind. Wow, that is close.
Wow, and we thought that he actually was going to improve that last sector because he was improving all the way around, but not bad for a rookie for this brand new series. In fact, I think this is his very first race in ERGP, so well done to Hamdany. A kart in real life, only just almost 900ths off Brendon Wattanabe, who's been racing for quite a couple of seasons here. So, Ken, you can run through the grid here as the timing screens keep changing. The drivers are setting their laps as we speak.
I'll get you to run through the grid because I've just lost the screen on my end.
Okay, so Wattanabe on pole, Hamdany second, Renault Julie third, I believe it's Singapore iRaces, Danish Aram in fourth, fifth is John McGregor, sixth is his son Jack, so they're almost inseparable. They were close towards the end of last season, especially out on track. 7, Chris Chu, 8, Hong Yong Zhuang, 9th is Abdul Yazid Raza, and 10th is Keith Mo. So, all change here at the top of the grid because we got some brand new drivers and some drivers who are returning for this championship. So, what we're looking forward to here as we get back to Alex.
Wow, okay, so some exciting racing there. Brendon Wattanabe, I think that's his first pole position ever in Copper class, and Hamdany really leaving it late to get second on the grid. It's going to be a close race for sure. Alistair, what are your thoughts on qualifying so far?
Yeah, super tight, super close. Great to see in Copper. This is going to be interesting. It's a long run to the first chicane, and that first chicane is super tricky as it tightens up between turn 1 and 2. So yeah, we'll just hope and see that everyone makes it through well, but I have a sneaky suspicion that we're going to see a bit of contact.
That turn 1 is going to be crazy indeed. Let's head back to the commentary team, Amo and Kian.
Right then, those like the butterflies might be in everyone's stomachs here right now because we got 20 plus cars that are going to plow through the MCO chicane coming through the first sector and up to the end of the lap. It's going to be very fast, it's going to be very frenetic as the countdown timer now comes up to almost 0 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then after that the lights on the gantry might come on. There we go. It's now lights are going to be on the gantry at the Red Bull ring, at the Salzburg ring here with the Red Bull band on the top. We're waiting. It's a bit of a long hold. And it's lights out, and away we go for the 6th season of Global Edition. And that's a good start there from Wattanabe. He's actually gotten away in front of Hamdany. We're looking at further behind the field. There's Hamdany actually right behind Brendon Wattanabe. Oh, big accident! Big accident in the midfield there. The cars flip. A car flipped under there as we come to the first corner. Bumping and boring coming through, but it's Wattanabe who gets the whole shot and leads coming out to the MCO chicane. Second is a Renault Julian. Third is Hamdany, I think, as we now are going to wait until the screen comes back on. But surely now, Wattanabe has actually gotten the whole shot needed. And he's almost 200s ahead of Hamdany.
Yeah, what an interesting start there. You had some sparks flying between the cars. These cars very wide and no arrows, so they will be able to follow very closely, and they will have to keep an eye out for each other. 1.7 of a second. Currently second place, Hamdany and Wattanabe. We're down in 7th with Arafin, who is on the tail of McGregor. Will he be able to make something good for the right-hander? He's right on that back. Is he going to try and sweep it around the outside? He's carrying more speed on the corner exit. He's so close to the grass right there, but he manages to get together. Up the inside he goes. Will he be able to make it work? And not quite yet. McGregor still holding onto that P6, but up ahead in P5 and 4, we had the 2 drivers too wide. We're on board with Hamdany now, who has taken the lead from Wattanabe and is now trying to extend the way. So a good start then from the Malaysian driver.
Wow, wait, that's actually the start that he would have wanted. I thought Watanabe might have gotten the whole shot and just got away with it, but Hamdany has come back. Now those two might need to work together because Julie then is only about second plus off. No DRS in these cars, remember, because they have no front and rear wing anyway, so they have to make use of the slipstream as they come to the end of the first lap here. Hamdany leads. Oh, someone goes wide. It looks like Danish Aram. Danish actually goes off, and McGregor takes the position away. Or is it? Yes, it was Danish Aram actually who goes off track. Abdulaziz Razak gets a slowdown penalty for track limits abuse. That's going to be quite common throughout the season. But here we're on board with McGregor. He's trying to make his way up through the field. He's in 5th right now and trying to make good in what was actually a great end to the season where he was on the podium on a number of occasions. And now he will try to actually start this new season on a good foot.
Yeah, right in the slipstream of the car ahead. Fighting for P4 is McGregor, but we're back down now with Jihong. Back in 13th position, fighting ahead with Kondralokis in the Malaysian car up ahead. These two drivers, we have seen the P12 car in the previous season before already, and in the 6th edition, he's going to be wanting to make his way further up the grid and finish better than he ever has before. But Hong has different ideas. As for the right-hander, he goes a little bit of a rear-end slip there from the P12 driver. Can Hong try and make the move here? The privateer driver through the right-hander, maybe looking for a move on the other side. No, he's going to look for the potential switchback there, as he does get a much better mid-corner speed there, but will he be able to carry the exit speed? Doesn't look like it, so good driving there from the cars ahead.
Side by side they go. In fact, we can actually almost anticipate this because they don't have any wings and slicks. Sorry, they don't have any wings on their wagon, so it's easy for them to just follow around. One car is coming into the pits. That was an interesting one. That looked like one of the Stratos looking cars. In fact, that looked like Abdulaziz Razak coming to the pits, is it? No, it's Azmi Arifin. So the other is the Stratos guy who actually comes in and presumably for repairs. So I think he was already a back mark anyway, so we can discount him out for this race. He's going to have to come back strong in a second as we go back to the battle for the lead of the race. Brendon Wattanabe then will be a little bit fuming that he lost his advantage that he had in pole position and the whole shot. Now he's going to have to claw back the disadvantage that he has to himself and Hamdany and try to get back the lead of the race.
Yeah, you can see how much more space that Hamdany is using on the track, and I think it's really helping him with his corner exits, but the slipstream down the back straight, those Watanabe, will he be able to get closer? Again, not that much dirty air, not that much slipstream to deal with, but there is enough there as you can see him closing up at a rate of knots. What it'll be is he's going to try and make a move back, and he just kind of slips back, tries to set up the next corner. These two drivers going at it. I got the impression that Watanabe was maybe a little bit more consistent considering that he was banging in better qualifying times more often. However, we've seen with that P2 start that Hamdany is a quick driver, and already in P1 he is doing a brilliant job to hold off this P2 attack so far.
And a rookie to win in the rookie class here would definitely be a good thing to see, because normally some rookies might be a bit scared racing against some of the more seasoned drivers, even if it isn't just the copper class. But Hamdany is showing the way here that it's possible with a bit of consistency and effort. He can actually take it to the best of them. As we look back further behind into the tail end of the top 10, Kondralokis, and a car that's similar to that, that's Jack McGregor, son of John, and he's trying to make moves here on Danish Aram. Danish then trying to recover from that mistake that he made at that first corner. As we look further in front again, this is Hamdan, no, that's Abdulaziz Razak, and driving for the MSJ Empire team. I think, no, MSI Empire, because that's the name of the graphics card. By the way, look at that. The amount of battles that we can have on track here, it kind of is the benefit of cars that have no aerodynamics, because you don't have to deal with that dirty air that we always hear about in Formula 1.
Yeah, it changes the strategy around a little bit. You can push a lot harder than you could if you were following this close to the car ahead if you had aero, because the amount of friction that the tires are having to utilize to maintain a similar pace is not quite as much. However, we're on board now with John McGregor from the Stratos team. He's going to be trying to make a move, potentially at the inside once again. Is he going to be able to get close enough to that P3 driver of Julie? Currently 1.5 tenths separate. What will happen for this right-hander? Lots of long straights around here, so we're being forced to wait and see more than not. But here we go. Again, P4, P3. These two kind of in a holding position right now. But crucially, I think Watanabe's made a mistake, because he is now 3 seconds behind the leader.
Oh wait, and that happened off screen there when I'm looking, so apologies for that one. We can't keep up with so many things happening around. But yeah, now they're going to be falling into the clutches of Julie and McGregor, so that battle for second may become a three-way here for the final position of the roster.
Oh, there you see it.
That sparks flying off McGregor's, guys. Apparently he's actually driving for Stratos here, so plenty of Stratos boys in this particular split. But we're looking at McGregor now, trying to chase up for 4th, and he might have lost a bit of momentum there because he went onto the grass slightly and picking up a bit of sparks.
Yeah, never want to take it on the grass if you don't have to, but if you need to take it for an overtake, go right ahead. Currently 5 attempts separate P4 and P3. This is the battle for the final position on the podium between these two drivers, and it seems to me that McGregor just has a little bit of pace on Julie right now, but we're back in P6. Once again, the MSI Empire car is up the inside. He goes of Zhihang, and he gets that move done up at the P5. Look at him go. There we go. That's what we want to see around this track today, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the particular part of the course that you don't really see overtaking because you want to line up exactly right coming onto the back straight at the Nockstein curve. But either way, Yaziraz has made that move stick, but Zhuang's not going to let that line. He's going to have to come back at him as they come through the Ortsschleife, aka the West Loop. And after that into the Fahrerlagen curve, one of the most fearsome corners on the entire track that we said earlier, 500cc world champion Mick Doohan said that is one of the most exhilarating corners on the track. It's like Armcos Usai, you can have fender bashing. It's an exhilarating circuit, and we're seeing here right now is living up to that reputation as we're watching Chris Chu here trying to get by Zhuang, who was trying to get by himself by Yazir Raza. We now see him. There he is, still behind Zhuang coming through this last sector, but I believe that first corner maybe look a bit tasty here. He might just want to send it one up on the inside.
Yeah, the wonderful thing I love about this, we'll say new level racing, this kind of rookie class with Copper, is that, you know, you have so many people doing the same lap time, but you have so many of them doing it in different ways. It's almost like they're driving different cars in some places. So it is great to see, and it creates some great battles. As I speak of the devil, Ji Hong is trying to make the move up into 11th on Condrolocus. Will he make something happen for the right-hander? We will have to wait and see later on as we're back on board with Dave Roberts. But here we are, we're back on board with Condrolocus again for the Academy, and it looks like he's managed to hold off that attack from P12. There's just too much happening on the screen right now, isn't there, Ammo?
Yeah, the director just can't keep up with this. This is absolutely brilliant stuff to see. That we can predict this because in other classes we might not see the same level of closeness as we see here. So this might be the closest amount of action we're going to get all day, unless I'll be proven wrong. So I'll be happy to get proven wrong in that time. As McGregor tries to go on the inside here on the back straight, coming up to the Ortsschleife and to the Fahrerlagen curve. Does he make it? No, he doesn't. Julie then holds on, and fairly so, because he only moved there once. But Julie runs wide here. Can McGregor look onto the inside and get through? Does he? Yes, he does. He comes on the inside on the Fahrerlagen. A bit of a touch there. Brendon Wattanabe is just ahead, but I think that's a fair move there, Kian.
Yeah, it might have just been a little bit of net code there to see that touch, but crucially, these corners are banked, which means that you can take those wider lines and make it work, but unfortunately there for Julie, just not the case for him there today, and it looks like McGregor now on a charge. He's only 1 second behind Wattanabe as Hamdany continues to extend his lead, coming from second position on the grid.
Yep, and looking at the lap times here, his previous lap is almost, in fact, more than a second faster than Wattanabe. So what happened to Watanabe's car, either its term inside or just the tires, has not been on the pace compared to Hamdany. Hamdany here has taken this first race by storm, and looks like he's going to set a precedent here for more rookies to come through and say, look at this, I can do it, you can too. As we look at McGregor then being chased by Julie, he's fallen a bit from Wattanabe. But behind that, Shaz Rehman in 8th place, leading a pack of cars that are the 10 on the top 10. Remember, points go all the way to 15th, and we're not really sure where the reverse grid is going to be, so we have to wait and see once the racers come through and we can actually finish the next, coming to the next race. We'll see which spot on the grid is going to be pole position.
Yeah, so crucially, you want to be finishing as far up the field as you can, because you never know when you want to be the first driver on the cutoff. You never want to be that P10 driver leading at the top 9 of the reverse grid, do you, Emma?
I mean, pole position here, you might say might not be as crucial as some other tracks, like for example, like Monaco in real life, but still, you just want to be ahead. You just want to have that whole shot and try to build up the gap like what Hamdany is doing. And although Hamdany didn't start in pole position, he was on that front row, so he's making good use there of the clean air right in front of him.
Yeah, for the right-hander now with Razak in P5, he is seeming to drop back a little bit from Julie, who is just managing to stay in touch with McGregor. McGregor has dropped back a little bit now, by about half a second to Wattanabe. So it looks like there's a bit of a holding formation now. You know what? I'd love to time how long it takes for the first car to come around the corner and the last car to come around the corner. The field spread right now is massive, isn't it?
Absolutely, and that's quite a surprise because normally there's we saw overtaking maneuver there. I think, yep, Raza has actually gotten through on Julie. So Julie made a mistake at the chicane as more and more drivers actually slowing coming to that first corner. They might be a bit scared here to jump that curve and lose a lot of momentum. And a lot of drivers might not know this, but that tire barrier on the outside can actually be traversed. You just jump over it. It's literally that flat. So if any of those drivers are hearing this or in other classes hear it, yeah, you can actually jump that curve. But to a certain extent, you wouldn't want to flip your car.
Yeah, we've seen some cars go 45-degree and vertical already at the start of this race. As we're still jumping around the field a little bit, we're on board with Jack McGregor through to left-hander as he's trying to fight now with Haikal for P9 in that red car, red and yellow. These two colors, you know, could be a bit reminiscent of the Ferrari and Renault days, especially with that Ferrari livery on that car up ahead with the Shell logos. Look at that. As through the right-hander we go. Will something happen here? It's a bit twitchy for Jack as he's going through the right hand. And somebody's gone off up ahead. Into the barrier they go. Not good for that driver there. But we continue on. And it's still this battle for P9 that we are watching. P8 right up ahead. And it looks like McGregor is still closing that gap. But interestingly there, that driver coming off the grid. I'm not sure who that was. Do you know?
I think that was Azmi Arifin. Because remember, he was in the pits earlier. And he just wanted to get out of the way, I think. Smacking to the barriers. And also, to note, it might not only just look like a Ferrari, but I think it looks a bit more like a DJR Team Penske colors car, don't you think, Kian? Just looks a bit like it, minus the white, of course.
I think you're right. I think you are right.
Australian V8 Supercars reference here, but unfortunately, we're about a few 100,000 miles away from where it's supposed to be. As coming through the chicane there, big mistake from Shaz Aiman, and Jack McGregor gets two drivers in one corner. And I don't know what happened to the... to Ji Hong there, or is it the another driver? Is it Haikal? Yeah, Haikal actually has gone through the chicane and has actually gotten it beat slightly because he's dropped all the way to 14. There is Haikal, and he was stuck. Yep, Aiman Haikal was definitely stuck in the gravel for a few seconds and has lost out big time. In fact, he's behind Dave Roberts now. He's outside of the point scoring positions. But Jack McGregor then opportunistically has gotten up 2 positions. What a move there from McGregor Jr.
Yeah, it looked like Haikal just ran deep there, and McGregor was able to take advantage of that. But also, it got complicated by that one driver up ahead that also had a mistake through that chicane, and then you know, they had a bit of a what was it, Montoya and Schumacher moment going side to side. No,
Interlag got here.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, we're talking about Imola. Oh, yeah, Imola 2004. Slight bumping and boring, but either way. We're coming up to the final lap now. This is Hamdany then. Mohammad Hamdany, a Carter in real life. He has shown the way here for everybody else in the first round of the new Copper season and indeed the new Global Edition season. He has led from start to finish here, and what a way to do it on his first race in the not only rookie class but I think in URGP. So well done to him. We're gonna be excited to see more of him throughout the entire season as we now look for the behind that Shaz Rehman. He's coming to the corner then that he made a mistake just a lap earlier that lost him a couple of positions. He's trying to come onto the inside there of, is that Jack McGregor? Yes, it is Jack McGregor. So McGregor then holds firm and holds on to 8th. He's going to have to settle for 9th here. He only has one more overtaking spot to do, and that's towards the end of the lap. So I think Chaz's chance of actually trying to get McGregor have actually diminished, unless he could get to the back of him, which is almost impossible because he's being attacked there by Andrew Kondolakis. Kondolakis then onto the inside, coming up to the Notchstein curve, onto the back straight. And Aiman then holds on to 9th place.
P10 Kondolakis still trying to make that move happen. We are now at 0 hour on a timer. It has been this man who has managed to get the early pass on Wattanabe from P2 on the grid and take what will be the first win not only of this Global Edition round season 6 but also of his rookie career in the Copper class. Around the final corner comes Hamdany to win the first round of Global Edition 6 here at the Salzburg Ring. A little bit of a wiggle there for the driver. You can imagine he'd be happy about that one, elated, and a little bit behind. You can just see in the corner of your eye, Wattanabe comes across the line to take P2.
Yep, and that's a good way to start his season as well after what happened last time out in Global Edition 5. He has started on a good foot as well. John McGregor comes through in 3rd. 4th is Julie, dropping slightly, and 5th, Chris Stewart. He looks very chuffed about that. He's very happy with that result. Best result of his Copper class career, I would say. And look at that, he's elated, and who can blame him? 6 is Abdulaziz Raza, 7 is Zhuang, 8th is Jack McGregor, who has come through. He stormed his way through to 8th. 9th is Kondolakis, and 10 is Danish Aram, who fell back a bit after coming unstuck right here in the chicane that has claimed so many victims. So that's the top 10.
Yeah, good move. Wow, so that was an interesting race. The Formula Junior cars look great to watch, don't they, Alistair?
Yeah, it must be the lack of downforce. You know, these guys are following super close. I've been watching the timing screens, and there were points where cars were 3/10 within each other for the whole race. So it was really cool to see them so bunched together. You know, it was almost too much action for us to look at. Obviously, the rookie Hamdany, props to him. You know, he's making a statement, and I think he'll be one to watch for the championship.
Yeah. It's quite interesting watching the cars, right? If they don't turn in quite right, they got so much understeer.
Yeah.
But if they turn in just right, there's a little bit of sideways. You get a little bit sideways, and the car has a bit stays neutral. So it's getting that turn in just right, which I seem to remember is how you drive Formula Fords as well. We must get Kian to comment on that later.
Yeah, you really got to drive on the edge, so to get the rear end is how you must get them to rotate. But yeah, it's cool seeing them figure it out throughout a race.
Oh crap. Okay, so we've got a reverse grid now, and what we do is we ballot what number we reverse before the server opens, and I think it's top 15 that are reversed for this race. I didn't quite see who was in 15th, but top 15 reversed, and the rest of the pack in the normal order. So second race is where it gets exciting, doesn't it, Alistair? What do you do for this when it's reversed like this? What's your strategy?
Oh, if I've just come off the first race and done a good result, you know, it's damage limitation. You don't want to charge into turn 1 and have your race over in the first 15 seconds. So for people like Hamdany and Wattanabe, it would just be keeping calm, hopefully getting a good launch, and then picking them off slowly throughout the race because you have a pace advantage.
Okay, well, let's go back to the commentary team.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Thanks, Alistair. Now we're back into the second race of the weekend, and the final one, of course, for the copper, because after this, they will be done for the day. We can move on to bronze. So, Aiman Haikal, who had that mistake into the first corner at the M Koshikane, will make amends here as he's on pole position after finishing 15th. Lights are on the gantry. We're waiting to go out. For them to go out. Way to go out. The race is underway for race 2 here, and that's a good start from Haikal. He's actually got them to jump on Dave Roberts. Shazzy might actually follow suit as we look further behind there. Look at the stream of cars, and hopefully we don't get an accident like we saw in race 1 where a car completely flipped. And I think I hazard to guess that was actually Azmi Arifin, so that's why he came to the pits. As they come to the first corner, then the M Koshikane looks clean so far. Everybody disciplined enough. Well, that's actually quite beautiful, actually, Kin. We saw some incidents coming through the first corner, but at least in this case, oh wait, spoken too soon. We saw a bit of a gap there. Cars might have actually been stuck in the traffic jam, but I think so far everyone made it through safely.
Yeah, the drivers came in 2 by 2. Hurrah, hurrah, as up the inside goes the, what is that, P6 driver now of Zhuang in that red car. We're on board with Dave Roberts, who is up relatively high through that reverse grid, looking a bit further down the field to see where some of our protagonists are. So already, Wattanabe has actually dropped back to 17th position, and Hamdany up to 11th. So again, Hamdany just getting the better start of the 2 drivers.
Indeed, and in fact, he's already up to 11th place. We're looking at Keith Moore right now, who finished right at the cusp of the top 10 as well. In fact, I think he was 10th exactly. So good start to the season for him after showing much promise towards the end of last season in the copper class. But either way, we're looking at him now up to 5th. He might be on for his best finish of the season if he could actually overtake the guys in front. So Dave Roberts has to watch out. Says, speaking of watching out, Danish Arrow goes wide and Dave Roberts comes through. So this is kind of battle we're going to see here because the fast guys are now behind. We're going to see, big area there. Whoa. Aram actually smacked into the barriers. In fact, more cars are spinning in the background. That looks like Chris Yu is Zhuang. No, Zhuang's actually been hit as well. That tire barrier, unlike in other games where it can be soft, is rock solid. So the moment you hit it, your suspension or any part of your car is gone. So you're going to have to watch out for that.
Yeah, chaos and confusion on the circumnavigation of this lap. We're back in P18, battling for P17 against the driver of Hong as we come through up through what is it, turn 1, the chicane, and more collisions, more damage, and a spin up ahead. This is chaos back here.
Oh, absolute carnage. In fact, Ji Hong there was the one that got hit by Ilias. Sorry, by Watanabe. Watanabe just sent that guy around, so he might put up a protest for that. No, that's not Ji Hong. That's actually Andrew Lowe, who's driving in the same colored car as Ji Hong. But you can see there, plenty of drivers who have dropped through the field. They might have to have protests for that if they were hit from behind. But so far, at least, guys in the front have been all clear. As we look now from the view of Mohammad Hamdany looking back at Danish Aram. So Danish then trying to go from the inside, coming up to the Ortschleifer. Does he actually get the move staked? He's already side by side. We see this plenty of times in the 500cc's back in the 80s and early 90s, where the riders on other makes of bike like Yamaha, Suzuki, had to get out of the way from the Honda because they call it the Honda lane. But in this case, these cars are about equal, so you can't get the move done unless you get it in the slipstream. As they come up now to the far and larger curve for the second time, Hamdany then manages to fend off Danish Aram, and he's gonna attack him for 6th place.
Not only has he managed to fend off there, but already another move up the inside there for P6 on the 2 teammates up ahead. Look at this mug P5 now. This man is moving like nothing we've seen. I asked you who would rocket away on this 1969 built track. It is Hamdany, currently 2x2 on this main straight, looking to make the move around the outside. Scratch that. Maybe looking up the inside into the chicane up here. You come through the green, the yellow, the orange, and the red arrow, and a big lunge up the inside, and there's contact. 3 wide through there. It's going to be one of the 2 teammates that come off worse there, but we still have Mr. Hamdany 2 wide up ahead, still trying to make his way through. That was a big lunge, an opportunistic move there from, that must have been Daneksham.
I think that was Danish. Yeah, Danish tried to go on the inside. He made it through somehow, unscathed, and he went around the outside. In fact, further behind, we saw Renault Julie White hit the barriers. Unfortunately for him, I think he's going to have to consign this second race to the bin, and hopefully he can score better rounds next time. But we're focusing on the battle for P5 between Danish Aram, Hamdany, and Jack McGregor. McGregor then was one of those guys that got involved in that first corner, as well as Condor Lodges. He's got the better slipstream of the 2 as they come out now to the Orchschleife. Outside goes Hamdany, middle of the sandwich is Danish Aram, and Danish gets on the inside, taps Hamdany slightly, and Hamdany goes a bit wide onto the Orchschleife, coming to the far and larger curve. That was a good save there. That could have easily been off, especially in these Formula 4 style cars, where once you touch a car, you touch a tire onto the curve, you're gone.
Yeah, and a big squeeze there, and up the inside goes Hamdany. Every time he handed over to me, this man gets past somebody, so maybe we should just hand over and get him over to, up to P1 already. But making moves left, right, and center is Hamdany. Danish is now backing up. Looked like he was maybe ducking into the pits, but this man, Aiman Haikal, who is in the lead right now. We're on board with Razik back in P11, challenging for Chu and Kondrolakis. These 2 up ahead. One of them going through up the inside, through the right-hander. How's it going to be? Oh, and contact once again. Has to cut the chicane over the tire barrier. Sparks flying everywhere. Dropping down the order is Razak. As again, he's bumping wheels with somebody on the left side. It looked like a little bit of netcode there. Wow. Wow. maybe we need a bit of aero here to help space these guys out a bit.
Yeah, because and speaking of aero to space these guys out a bit, these cars of course have no wings. How is it like to drive these kind of Formula 4 style cars? Because remember you said at the start of the show when we were discussing it that you actually driven these kind of cars before.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty interesting actually. So you think that you're going to have so much more grip than you do to start with, and then you get to the first corner and you start sliding it about, and you're like, wow, okay. But once you get, as you can see there, Keith Moe actually having not on the nose anymore. Once you get the hang of it, you can really start pushing these cars, and you're almost drifting through some of the corners, trying to get that peak slip angle on the tires.
It is driving like old school F1 cars, you might say, because remember 60s F1 cars didn't have aerodynamics either, so it's kind of a throwback to that kind of era, doesn't it, Kian?
Yeah, it's really good for junior drivers because it just means that they don't have to worry about aero. As contact again for the chicane for Chris Chu, and the driver that he's battling, it looks like he's just getting squeezed up, as that is Danish once again. So Chris Chu and Danish down the home straight, cross the start-finish line. Chris Chu is going defensive. He's holding the middle of the road. Danish is going to be on the inside. We've seen him before. We've seen him make big lunges in the past. He's going to make another one of those. Up the inside he goes. Kenny gets it slowed down, and he gets a really good run for chicane. And I dare say that is P9 for Danish, currently secured as 3 wide behind go the drivers.
Sparks flying too. The amount of sparks that we see here today, it almost looks like as if the cars are scraping on the circuit. But that's another good move there from Danish Aram, who's trying to make up for that second place. Sorry, what did he finish in that round 1? We need to look back. Yeah, he finished in 10th place in that first race, so he just wants to make up for lost time and lost points in that first round. As we now look at Hamdany, he's in the slipstream of Dave Roberts with Keith Moe on his inside. They're coming through the back straight here up to the Orchschleife. Can he make the move, stick around the outside? He'll be a brave man to do so. Keith touches him slightly, and Keith Moe, I think, has been sent out. He nearly spins. In fact, he's facing the wrong way, so that's just absolutely sad for the rookie, who's looking so good. Oh, he actually hit someone on the way out. That might be a Stewart's inquiry there, because he should not rejoin like that. Did the guy safely? No, in fact, that is Kondrolakis. I think Kondrolakis has been hit by a recovering Kimo. And Julie goes already outside there. There's so many things happening around this particular part of the course. It's frightening.
Yeah, it really is. As while we were off screen there, Hamdany did actually manage to secure P3, so up from P15 to P3 in the first half of the race. That's quite impressive, but currently 1.5 seconds separate the first and second place drivers, and then 4 seconds back is Hamdany, so we'll have to see 4 seconds. Look at that. It's already down to 3.2 between him and Aiman. So let's see how he manages to close that gap. 2.3, what the heck?
Where did this guy come from? Are we sure he should be in copper class? Because that kind of pace is something you'll see from the likes of Alif Hamilton, who normally rakes in the laps remorselessly and catching up to another driver. This is absolutely stunning pace. And if we didn't have a protagonist for this championship at the start of the round, when we entered it, we have it now. And his name is Mohammad Hamdany, and he's the guy to look out for. And that's what the rest of the field would like to look up to when they try to battle him for the next round. In fact, we don't know what the next round is. It might be a circuit to his disadvantage. But whatever it is, Hamdany has shown the way here, and he has absolutely stormed through the field.
Yep, on board with Adam Kondrolakis now, going up against Chris Chu. Confused, I combined Adam and Chu into Andrew, so we can remember that. As we're on board with Kondrolakis coming up now, he's gonna take 2 wheels onto the grass, trying to make it past Chu. As we come through the right-hander up here, will he be able to make it stick? You can see how much braking Chu breaks, or later Chu breaks, and Kondrolakis actually slips down a place to Ilvis, who manages to pull up and is going to challenge Chu through the right-hander. Will he make it work? Chu looking for the switchback, but there's not going to be enough space on the inside, and that might leave him vulnerable to Kondrolakis. As through the left-hander goes Kondrolakis, big lunge almost into the back of Ilvis, and it's going to be that right-hander again, as these guys are absolutely scrapping away here for P10.
Yes, then the big beneficiary there, he gained 2 positions out of Kondrolakis and Chu as they both go side by side. In fact, we lost John McGregor because we saw just now there was a car on the side on the outside of our Elanga curve. It is John McGregor, so McGregor's out of the race. That's a sad way to end the weekend for him after such a strong first race where he finished up in the podium. In fact, he finished 3rd. So sad end to the mess. Kondrolakis then jumps the curve. Chris Chu, is it Chu? Yeah, Chu tries to get up to the back of him but couldn't. So Kondrolakis holds on to 11 as Elias then gets away in 10th place. What a brave move to go around the outside and make out 2 positions there, Kian.
Yeah, crazy moves there. As you're seeing a lot of noses, a bit of bumps and bruises around. It's been a crazy race so far. As we're on board with Wattanabe, the driver who sat on pole for the first race, managed to bring it home in 2nd, is now trying to find his way a bit higher into the points. As P8 looks like. No, okay, P9. Timing board just playing a little bit with our minds there. Through the right-hander, can he make something happen? I'll tell you someone who is making something happen. Hamdany now only 4/10 behind P2 in that car there, in the FSA racing car. Down the home straight he goes. Will he be able to make something happen? He has roughly 2 or 3 more laps to try and close down that position and get P2 or maybe even P1 here, Ammo.
Are we looking at a double day, Kian? Yeah, we're looking here at a potential double in the first race of the season. Talk about domination. If that's gonna happen sooner, there it is. He's up to 2nd. In fact, I think Aiman is on his roof. He's actually flipped the car. You can see in the rearview mirror there, he flipped the car for a second, but Aiman managed to get it back onto the roof because I saw a bit more black than blue on the top of that car. So I think he might have flipped it for a second, and miraculously, the car managed to right itself back up. But shout out to Aiman there. What could have been a potential podium is now dropped to 5th. Still good points though. But he will be ruining that missed opportunity to be on the podium for the first time in his tenure in ERGP in the copper class. But either way, we're looking up to the front of the grid. Aiman Haikal, who's been leading the way since lap 1, and the big beneficiary of having started on pole, despite finishing 15 when the top 15 were actually the first round. So he will have to look at his mirrors here. 3 minutes left to go in this race. And Kian, how do you feel right now if you're in his shoes?
Well, I would be a bit frustrated because the driver who I was banking on slowing him down a little bit, at least buying me maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds, just basically let him by scot-free. And already Hamdany is within 7/10 of Haikal. So it's going to be down to this last lap or 2. As I come through this left-hander now, how well can this man defend from a man who has been storming his way through the field up from P15. He had a brilliant start, remember, by the end of lap 1, already up into 11th, as Wattanabe up into the 9th now and closing in on Coco. But, again, Hamdany, he is on an absolute stormer. We're on board now with the driver. You can see the H pattern shift going on on the right side. The slicks getting ready to come through and brush those apexes. You can see just how much more curb he takes than the P1 driver currently, and 2 temps in that first chicane alone.
And there's a lot of support there for Haikal. Gen 2 Motorsport is his team that he's driving for. As he goes a bit wide there, he needs all the support he can get here. If that support can give him at least 20 extra horsepower, he can actually get away from Hamdany. But Hamdany probably needs no second invitation. He only needs that slipstream on the back straight coming out to the Ortschleife and the Fahrer curve to just get through. But at the moment, at least, he's biding his time. He knows there's still an opportunity left to go in the next lap.
I dare say that was a try and get a late apex and a better run at the corner, because you saw he extended away by about a tenth in that first part of the straight, and I don't think Hamdany's going to be close enough to try and make a move. As I say that, though, he lunges around the outside. You see the slip angle. He's going to go for that later apex for his sweeping right-hander as we come up now to an even tighter corner. What is going to happen here with Haikal and Hamdany? 1 minute, 6 seconds to go. This man has to be putting in every last bit of morsel of strength that he has as we come through the left-hander. For right-hander, again, just so much curb taken from Hamdany. But Haikal right now is just placing his car where it needs to be as we come across the line to start the final lap. Hamdany is going to be looking for a way, maybe a massive lunge getting ready to go into that first chicane. You can see him. Is he close enough? 1.5 tenths separates. What's he going to do? Is he going to slot in behind and maybe just hope for a mistake like he did with the car that was previously occupying that P2 position? Kyle is driving brilliantly so far. He's going to have to try and get that big run out the back straight and just hold him off. But I think this is going to come down in the last few corners.
I think he might take your advice here. He might just overtake on the grass. Oh, never mind. Spoke too soon. Haikal runs wide. He locks up, but can he get back into the inside? Yes, he does. Oh, he manages to save that because Hamdany runs wide. But they got to go at it like hammer and tongs coming through the last 2 sectors here on the Salzburg ring. Aiman Haikal has to hold on here. He's going to have to defend against a guy who has been on the pace from the word go. And he's going to hold on here. He's trying to hold on for his first win of the ERGP season. And indeed, it's time ERGP as they go side by side through the coming up to the Ortschleife. This is going to be close, Kian.
Yep, around the outside goes Hamdany. There's a bit of contact there and almost wide. It's side by side for the right hand. The timer is on 0. This is the final lap. Haikal still managing to keep it ahead of the driver who is trying to make it a back-to-back double in his rookie, in his first outing for ERGP here in the 6th edition of Global. As we come for the left-hander is Hamdany he's getting his elbows out. They are too wide for the right-hander. Has he got it? No, Haikal still keeping it ahead as we come through the final left-hander. Haikal has done everything he's had to. He comes across the line and he wins his first race in ERGP. Hamdany brings it home a very close second. How tight was that at the finish?
Wow, what a finish here. We anticipate that he's got a cause to be absolutely exciting to watch as we now stream through the fields as they come through. We need to calm ourselves a bit. Haikal wins ahead of Hamdany. Jack McGregor holds up the McGregor name very high, and indeed, he bags the podium that his father did in the first race. 4th is Shaz Aiman, 5th is Dave Roberts to start his account on a very good foot as well. 5th place for him, 2 points. Finishes as big crash for the
Is that Wattanabe?
Yeah, I know.
That was Wattanabe.
I know. I think that was Condolocious, I think, because it was
Condolocious.
Yep. So it's run through the field. Aram in 6th, 7th is Arifin, 8th is Coco, 9th is Brendon Wattanabe, 10th Chris Chu, and then we go through the rest. That was Condolocious who has a big moment. Manages to bang himself 2 points, but I think it would have been more had it not been for that collision with Keith Mo. Incidentally, Keith Mo, the kid who hit him, is in P11. 12th is Dennis. 13th is Hong. 14th for Condolocious, and 15th is Andrew Lowe. So, wow, Kian. Final words on here on the winner, Aiman Haikal. How was his driving?
His driving, he maybe did not have the pace of Hamdany, as you saw that he was just reeling in it, but he was placing his car everywhere he had to. He knew that he'd be able to get that switch back on that late air pace line for that right-hander, and he managed to get that through. So brilliant driving then from the Gen 2 Motorsport driver to take the 2nd win of ERGP in this copper class for the season so far.
Right, now that we can head back to the studio with Alex and Alistair to probably give an interview to the drivers.
Okay, well, thanks very much for that, Kian and Amo. You're right, what an exciting race it was, especially that last lap. Haikal taking his first win. The rookie Hamdany doing a great job taking a win in 2nd position in race 2. Jack McGregor in 3rd, Aiman in 4th, Dave Roberts in 5th, Danish Amram in 6th, Arifin 7th, One Coco 8th, Brendon Wattanabe had an up and down race, finishing 9th, and Chris Chu rounding out the top 10. Okay, so Alistair, what was your take on that race?
Oh, that was pretty impressive. That was action packed. That was everything that we wanted it to be, I think. That last lap, the great defending from Aiman Haikal, and great drive from Hamdany to come back from 15th all the way to second.
Yeah.
Did everything he needed to, got the good start, kept his nose clean, and just picked him off one by one. And he nearly got the win, which would have been incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good fun race that was. I think we're going to see more from these Formula Ford style cars. The guys are going to figure out how to get the lap time, and we're going to see even closer racing. So that was good fun indeed. No interviews today. We didn't get the top two on Zoom, so we can't speak to them at the moment, but we'll try and get them next week. That's the copper class done and dusted. We've got the bronze class coming up next. I wanted to say a quick thank you to our sponsors, Casio, and of course Royal Selangor, X-Park, Motorsport Playground, and Life t-shirts, which we're wearing. So thanks very much for that. We'll be back with the bronze class right after these messages.